So, what really goes into becoming a police officer? Well, having worked at three different departments during my law enforcement career, I can say there's quite a bit. But there's also some things that separate those who make it and those who don't. In this video, I'm joined by Investigator Cohen of the Westminster Police Department in Colorado. And not only has he served in investigations, his primary role now is their recruiter. And Jesse has been featured on Police One and other law enforcement platforms as well. And today he's going to share what every single aspiring police officer needs to know. And a lot of what he's going to be answering are questions from what some subscribers submitted to me. Let's get right into it.
What does the hiring process look like overall from start to finish, and how long does it typically take?
So I don't know how other agencies do, or they're probably similar. So for ours, if you're in entry level, it'll take between 3 to 4 months. I think a lateral is going to be more like 2 to 3 months. Basically, what it does is for entry level, it starts off with the application. Then you go to the written test. The written test has what we call a PHQ, prelim background questionnaire. Pretty easy. To the written test, we do a phone interview, and then that goes into the oral board interview. After oral boards is when we get into backgrounds. That's going to be the longest part. That's going to be for everybody. Included in the backgrounds, you're going to have your polygraph test, a JSA or a psych test, job suitability. Figure that depending on what's going on, as short as 3 weeks, as long as maybe 6 weeks, which is still a good time frame. I know some agencies will take 6 months to do a background. For us, we'll get it done within a month, plus or minus. And then after the background, the psych and the JSA, or I'm sorry, the poly and the JSA, conditional offer followed up by a medical and a drug screen, and then a final offer. For laterals, we don't do a written test. You know how to write a report as a police officer. There's no need for us to waste time on a written test. Usually we can get those done in about 2 months. I'll tell you, we get a lot of laterals from out of state. So if you're out of state, don't worry. You don't have to move in 2 months. Like if you get hired, you can move a month later, 2 months later. Let us know when the right time to move is for you. We're pretty flexible with that.
Next question, what qualities or traits make someone successful in your department, both in the academy and out on patrol?
It's going to be kind of a generic answer. I think for us, integrity is number one. Like we won't work with dishonest cops. So if we find any sort of dishonesty in your process, you're not going to get hired. Obviously, work ethic is huge. Like you don't have to be the most talented. I don't even care about what your resume, your credentials are. Wrote a Police One article about not caring about it's character over credentials. If you're a hard worker, you're going to learn how to be a cop. You're going to be a good cop. You know, you go to academy, you're studying, getting your workouts in, you'll be just fine. And I always tell guys, when you're on patrol, if you're the type of person that's going to go sit behind a church or a school and watch Netflix all day, don't apply. Like we're a busy department, but when we're not busy, we're very proactive. So you're expected to go out and find work. You know, I did 4 years on graves on patrol. Proactivity is the best. It's my favorite type of cop work. So yeah, obviously if it's a slow day or you can take breaks and stuff, but don't be spending 8 hours of your day on your phone doing this, you know? So I'd say work ethic, character, integrity, be humble. Yeah, I'm a big Jocko Willink guy. So own your mistakes. You know what I mean? Like extreme ownership. You make a mistake, own it, move on.
Yeah, very well said, Jesse. And how does your department support officer mental health and work-life balance?
So one thing that's cool with us is our schedule. I don't know how it is at other departments. I know a lot of these agencies, you know, you become a cop and they don't have time to do anything. I almost joke that I'm like a jujitsu guy that just happens to moonlight as a full-time cop. I, we have a great schedule. We do 410s, but the way our hours are set up is whether you're doing stuff in the evening, after work, or before work if you're on graves, or you're doing stuff in the morning and afternoon on swings, there's always time during the day to do stuff. I mean, it's not hard. And then you look at the amount of days off we have and it's ridiculous. Like I actually, and myself and other officers included, I have a hard time taking all of my time off because I have so much. And that's huge because it gives you, first off, it keeps morale up. It keeps mental health up. If you need a day off, take a day off. Like we're fully staffed. So we're still hiring, don't worry, but we're fully staffed. So it's easy to just text your sergeant or tell your sergeant, hey, like I need to take a day off. Or I got a dentist appointment or my kid's got a soccer game or whatever. Take the day off. You'll have plenty of time off. That keeps morale up and that keeps burnout from going on. Now, if you do need some help of some kind, which happens, it's this job, it will happen. We have our peer support team. So we have basically officers that are trained in helping other officers with various issues they're having. We also have a pretty cool thing where we have a contract with the police psychologist in Denver, and we don't know about it. You can call the police psychologist, you or your family, and set up an appointment anytime, and the city pays for it. It's completely confidential. So if you have marital issues, if there was a call at work you don't want to tell anybody about or anything like that, you call the police psychologist, you go to it, you have a meeting with them. We don't even know because it's just a contract we have. Families will go, wives will go, husbands will go, whatever. So that's huge too. But we're very big on mental health. And if you have something going on, there's either people to talk to or take time off. You'll never get questioned about taking time off ever.
That's a great thing, and I love that. I think sometimes some of the most liberating words a police officer can say is, "I need help." And that's okay because you're only human and you're exposed to things that the human brain just never wants you to be a part of in the first place. And sometimes things happen within the four walls as well that can really just bring you down. So yeah, reach out for help and take care of those resources. But yeah, days off. I miss being able to take like a Wednesday and Thursday off. And that was the only scheduled time from work I took off, but I ended up not working for 7 days straight. What opportunities are available for advancement, specialized units, or continued training?
Okay. First, I'm going to say training. In my opinion, I think as a whole, the police industry, we lack in training. We don't train enough. There's not enough opportunity to train. Westminster, we're trying to correct that. From what I've seen, we train the most out of anybody, and we're huge on that. I mean, you're going to be going to the range here more than anywhere else, any other department, with arrest control, officer survival, tactics, canine training, CPR training, first aid, even investigatory training. Because for us, if you're not improving, then that's a problem. And if we're not keeping up to date with the standards that are happening, that's a problem to me. Now, if you want to go, for us at least, if you want to go to any sort of outside training, just put in for it. You'll go. Make sure it's for something you're involved with. You want to be an operator, you go to SWAT school, and then you can say, oh, hey, this economic crimes investigatory training looks interesting, but your goal is to be a SWAT operator. You're probably not going to go to the economic trends. We're going to keep that for a detective. But as long as it's somehow relevant to your goals, your position, whatever it may be, you're going to go to the training. Just talk to your commander. Not a problem. I've never been turned down from training ever. And then so I always talk about training because if you think you're training enough, train more. As far as for us, for specialized units, so for those of you guys not familiar with Westminster, we're a suburban Denver city, mid-sized department. I mean, we're pretty, I'd say average as far as suburban goes, but we run like a big city department. So we have everything. We have our own SWAT team. We have our own canine unit. We have our narcotics unit, every branch of detectives you can think of. Obviously patrol, traffic, motors, SROs, probably, community team. I'm sure I'm forgetting something, but we have everything. And the thing with us is patrol is so much fun. I did patrol for 10 years. We have guys that stay on patrol. You don't want to leave it. But if you do have something you're interested in, it's all about your performance. I mean, again, it goes back to the work ethic. If you put in for something, but for 4 years on Graves, you sent Instagram reels to your friends and didn't actually do police work, probably not going to get that position. But if you show, hey, he's a leader, he works hard at this, he's good at this, whatever you put in for it, you're probably going to get it.
How does the department handle community relations and what's expected of officers in that regard?
So we have our own community relations team. So we have a team that's their job is all the community relations. Great team, good team to be a part of. We also do a lot of events like tonight, for example, is National Night Out, which I'm taking part in. So I'll go put the uniform on. We have all sorts of events going on every month. So we do proactively look at community relations from the team and from the events. But for me, one of the biggest things is when you're on patrol, it's know your beat. I think community relations is when you're driving your beat, the business owners need to know you. They need to know you by name. You go to Walmart, the loss prevention officers need to know you. You need to be driving your neighborhoods, talking to kids. They need to say, hey, oh, there's Officer Scott. Hey, what's up? He's Officer Scott. They know your schedule. The bad guys need to know who you are because they need to know, oh, I'm not going to mess around when he's working. So that, in my opinion, your business checks, your community checks, you're driving around your neighborhoods, that's probably more community relations, I think, than preset things would be.
It's worth getting out of the car and talking to people. It really is. This question is for you. Why did you want to become a recruiter and what does your typical day look like?
I didn't even know I wanted to become a recruiter. I'll be honest with you, like I was on patrol and they were doing some recruiting events and just asked me if I could help. And I said, sure. Part of the reason is I'm pretty well known, like outside of the police world. So I have some of the connections and I love our department. I think we do it right. I think we do policing the right way. So it was easy for me to talk about the department and why I think people should work there. And they sent me out to a couple of these events. I even went out of state. I was working patrol, but it just got to be too much where, I'd be working my beat, taking calls, doing what I needed to do, but then I'd be responding to emails or responding to texts and stuff. And then finally it was open a position and I put in for it and kind of knew I was going to get it. And I just kind of fell into the position and I miss patrol for sure, but it is nice being able to do this full time because it's a very busy job. So my typical day, it depends because sometimes I'm in the office, sometimes I'm not. If I'm not in the office, I am doing presentations in front of college football teams or at schools or military bases or what have you. I'll go to job fairs. Job fairs are hit or miss, whatever. I do a lot of traveling. I like the one-on-one stuff. So I like going and like presenting to the football teams, the sports teams, doing like a criminal justice lecture, things like that, where it's more one-on-one versus a job fair where you got to go to them, but you don't have to get anybody. And if I'm in the office, honestly, most of my day, I'm on this thing. Oh, sorry. You can see my phone here. It's the end of the reflection. Okay, I'm on this thing. It's my phone. I'm on my phone, my computer, responding to texts, responding to emails. I mean, you don't realize, I don't think people realize how many hours I spend talking to potential applicants or current applicants. I do background investigations too. So trying to get caught up on backgrounds and just kind of go from there.
I hear you. That's a lot.
Yeah.
How do you decompress from work?
First off, you have to have a good support system at home. I'm lucky. My wife is the daughter of a cop, so she understands the job. She understands when I got into it. And you have to have something you do outside too. For me, it's jujitsu. Like I kind of said, I was training jujitsu long before I became a cop, and obviously I continued, and it obviously helped me on the job as well. But for me, it's jujitsu. It's such a good stress relief. Obviously, the carryover for police work is great, but you just have to have something. Like you can't be a cop and then on your off days you're watching live PD and end of watch and dry firing for hours and hours. Dry firing is good, but don't make that your life. Have something you do. Jiu-jitsu, golf, baseball, working out, cycling, swimming. We got guys that they work on houses and cars. Like you just have to have something that is not police related outside. Now, if it can kind of overlap with what we do. So yeah, if you're a gun guy and you're an armor or something, obviously that's going to be huge. If you're a jiu-jitsu guy, that's going to be huge, but it doesn't have to be. I mean, if you're going to coach your kids football or baseball, then do that. As long as you're doing something that's not police related.
You brought it up. So I want to take it there just for a little bit for the sake of future applicants and future police officers. You've already mentioned like a lot of police officers across the country are not trained enough, and many times it's not the fault of their own. So I mean, I remember speaking at a conference in a state where they couldn't send their officers to training because they were so short staffed. Therefore, in my opinion, it falls on the officers to utilize their time to maximize training as best they can. Like I invested years of training in jujitsu and some other forms of martial arts, and it helped me a lot. So for those who are getting into it and they've never had any kind of background in martial arts, such as jujitsu, are we talking that they have to be brown belt, black belt level? What's your advice to someone looking to get in and be effective for that when that day comes where they got to go hands-on with someone?
I would say the first thing is you have to be in shape. If you don't already have a good fitness routine, nutrition routine, that's it. Like if you're not going to be able to do that next step. If you can't do some burpees and push-ups at the beginning of your day, as far as jiu-jitsu goes, no. Whether it's jiu-jitsu or Muay Thai or wrestling or judo or whatever you're going to train, you'll see that just being 1 to 2 days a week of consistent training, the way it goes on the street, when you actually like have to get in an altercation with somebody, you have a use of force, it's almost a joke as to how easy it is. Just because majority of people that fight you on the street are not trained. So yeah, don't worry about, you don't have to be at my level. You just need to do something that will help you on the street a couple times a week. And the other thing too is it helps your confidence. It's like so many people I think get scared of this and these force, when you see it, they go to tool reliance, right? So they're taser reliant, baton reliant. I'm not saying the baton isn't a good tool. I think it's a great tool, except that how does it look optically when you're on the street and you see a body cam and the guy has 37 baton strikes, right? To me, that's somebody who's afraid to go hands-on. You do a taser. Taser's a great tool, but does the guy really need to ride the lightning 11 times? No, go hands-on. If you don't have that confidence, you're not gonna be able to go hands-on. So do something. Obviously, I'm gonna be biased towards jiu-jitsu, but just do something that brings up your confidence level. When you do get in a use of force, you get the control, you're confident, you know you're gonna win, you know you're gonna keep your partner safe, you know you're gonna keep the suspect safe. That's huge too. I mean, a lot of times you see, we do using some jiu-jitsu, we don't even have a use of force because we do a takedown, control, cuff up, no complaint to pain, no use of force, versus 37 body punches and baton strikes and whatever else. So, but again, I'm biased towards jiu-jitsu. So.
No, well said. I'm glad we had that conversation about that topic. Should someone apply to multiple agencies at once or go through one at a time? And does this cause issues for a post background to have multiple applications going?
My answer might surprise you. And the answer is yes, you should. You never put your eggs in one basket. When I first applied, I think I applied to 8 agencies. I had 5 offers and 3 people said no. It makes no sense. I'm the same person, but you never know. Are you going to come in? Or are you going to have a bad day? Lack of sleep, you're stressed out, something's going on at work, and you go in and you test for agency A and you just kill it, and you test for agency B and you have a bad day and you don't move on. Obviously, pick your best agency, it's gonna be Westminster because we're the best. But no, it's, pick your agency you want to do, but absolutely apply, have a backup plan just in case you do it. I can't speak for other agencies, but for us, not at all. Now, if it's something where you have something on your background and you're making it all the way to backgrounds and then you're getting washed in the background process at all these agencies, that's gonna be a problem universally. But if it's just something where you go to the oral board, you have an off day in your interview, or you go to take the written test and just had a bad day or whatever, and you don't pass it, it's not going to affect you at all.
Okay. At what age do most police officers leave, and what is usually the reason?
I was trying to think of an answer to this when you sent this to me earlier. I don't have an answer for that. It's so over the board. There's so many reasons. I mean, you've got the guys that will work 35 years on a beat and retire at, 62 years old. You have guys that will work 15 years and they start when they're 21, and at 36, they go do something else. It really varies. I mean, you could have people that move out of state for family issues, and sometimes you get a detective or something that does like a financial crimes, and you could go to the private sector and maybe make more. So it's too hard to tell. I wish I could give you a concrete answer, but I don't know.
Yeah, no, it just depends on the individual, in my opinion. And I always encourage people, rather than feeling like you're running from a negative emotion, be pursuing another opportunity. If you do leave the profession, pursue another opportunity. If the person that someone lives with is unemployed at the time of applying, does that go against the applicant?
No, that's not your fault.
Yeah.
You can bring it up if you want to, but you're actively looking for employment. What they're doing has nothing to do with you. So no.
All right. How does being divorced, fine print here, no continuing problems, impact how a department evaluates an applicant?
So no continuing problems. I'm going to actually add on to that. Why? So was there a domestic? And I'm not saying an arrest for domestic. Are you divorced because when we look you up, you had 7 calls for verbal DVs where nobody got arrested? Was there a restraining order or something like that? Yeah, that's going to be a problem. Was it a divorce that it just didn't work out? No, I mean, I hate to say it. Welcome to police work where like 80% of the cops were divorced. So as long as it was a cordial divorce, imminent cordial, as long as it was a non-criminal, just separation divorce, it won't affect you at all.
I'll never forget when I first started in the job, people were saying, "Oh, how many times have you been married?" Or this person's only on their second marriage and stuff. I was like, wow, this is crazy. But anyway, another video for that. Uh, Will being related to felons affect the hiring process? And I know this person's concerned about it because they've commented on another video of mine about this. So I know this person's serious asking this question.
Actually, it's a great question. So here's how I look at it. Again, it's not your fault, right? People become cops, and you hear people that they come from bad neighborhoods. They might come from inner city Chicago or Detroit or wherever it may be. And they're like, listen, my dad's a gang member, my brother's in prison, this, that, the other. And I want to become a cop. They want to go the other way. You hear stories about that all the time of this person got out of that situation and now is on the opposite side of their family. So no, we're not going to hold that against you because again, that's not your fault. Like it's in fact, to me, in an oral board, I think that'd be a great answer. Like, why do you want to be a cop? Well, my family, I have family members who are drug dealers, gang members in prison. I saw that and I decided to go the other way. Like, cap, check. Like, yeah, let's go. Let's move on. So no, great question for whoever asked that. And no, do not worry. I think it's a great story that you have.
What do you wish more applicants understood before applying?
It's not so much understanding. I wish there was more preparation. You have to remember when you're applying, this is not a corporate job, right? You're not applying to be I don't even know, it's salesman or whatever else. Like, this is a police job. You need to do your preparation. So first off, you need to know what the job entails. You go on Instagram, you can go and Google it, whatever. There's so much information out there, YouTube. So first off, figure out what are you getting yourself into? Because we've hired people before who were great on paper and they came from the corporate world and they didn't do their research. And we're like, well, this guy's got a shot. And then they came in, they're like, yeah, this wasn't what I expected. And they left. So it's not so much what you need to understand, is do your preparation. So now we have that. Yep, I want to be a cop. Great. Now let's start preparing for the department. Okay. Because Westminster is different than NYPD. NYPD is different than Broward County. Broward County is so on and so on and so forth. Okay. So do your research on the department that you're testing for. Again, if you guys look me up, I'm on Police One. There's another article. It's called Doing Your Research and Why You Should, because that's going to help you determine, hey, am I a good fit for this department? And is this department a good fit for me? Departments, yes, police work is police work, but departments are going to be different in their attitude, their staffing, the morale, everything. So really do your research and figure that out. Now, what I'd say, I wish more applicants did.
What advice do you give to someone who is interested in working in law enforcement?
Obviously, do your research with that. I would say, first off, from a physical standpoint, and I'm not saying this to pass the physical test, make sure you're healthy, right? Again, you don't have to be a bodybuilder. You don't have to be a jiu-jitsu black belt. You need to be healthy, right? So make sure your workouts are on point. You're nutrition's on point, and your lifestyle's on point, right? If you have a stressful, hectic lifestyle and you become a cop that in a job that can be stressful and hectic, and now you add that to your home life, that's what leads to people hitting the bottle and you stop working out and you become unhealthy and all the other problems like that. So be healthy, number one. Make sure you're squared away, make sure you're ready to go. You have a good support system. I would say that'd probably be my biggest one. And then people always ask me what to study. There's nothing to study. We're going to teach you. You're going to go to academy. You're going to learn all the statutes and the case law and everything else. You know, when you come out here in field training, we're going to teach you how to be a cop. You don't really need to study, like, I guess that sense, but start paying attention again. Like, I know everybody watching probably spends way too much time on Instagram scrolling. Well, stop at the police pages and watch the videos. Most of these videos on some of these pages, they do debriefs. You can see if it's good or bad. If it's a great call, figure out what they did that was good. If it's a bad call, figure out what they did that was bad. You know, if it's a call, sometimes they post these calls that are intense. They involve kids or active shooters or whatever. Watch those and think to yourself, can I handle that? You know, what would I do in that situation? Because I'd rather you say, like, watch this and be like, yep, I can here, and be prepared for it mentally, than the first time it happens is when you're on the street and you don't know what to do. So I'd say that would be the best bet is your preparation again.
Yeah, 100%. How competitive is the hiring process, and what can a candidate do to stand out?
Depends on the department. I'll be honest with you. There are some departments that are hurting for people. And so as long as you don't have a criminal history and your drug use is slim, it's going to be pretty easy to get hired. For us, it's competitive in the sense that we don't drop our standards, but we don't have a number. So we're not like, hey, you're testing for one spot. We're looking for people that fit Westminster. Like, what does Westy want, and do you fit that mold? And that's it. So it depends on the department. I would say your presence. Okay, so think about your presence and your appearance. And again, I'm not talking about looking like a bodybuilder, but when you come in to do the tests and the interviews, are you dressed well? Is your hair nice? If you have a beard, is it trimmed? Are you walking in with confidence? Are you walking in with your shoulders slumped over and stuff like that? I think that's going to be huge, is just making sure your presence is felt. And when you get to like the interviews and stuff, tell us about yourself. I always say, I'm like, don't tell us what you think we want to hear. Tell us about yourself. Like, we have a half an hour to get to know you. Let's get to know you. And that also comes in with how you walk in, how you carry yourself. That translates to the street, because how many times have you heard a bad guy who ambushed a cop and he was like, yeah, I saw this cop filling up for gas and he was out of shape and his uniform was unkempt and was untucked and his hair was a mess. I knew he was an easy target. This other guy came in and he just looked squared away and I just drove away. We see that in World War II in the interviews. So
Yeah, good point. Time for a fun question. How do constitutionalists become peace officers without having to kiss the ring or lick the proverbial boot of the department, so that real change can start to take place inside policing? Other people have freedom of speech, so he asked, so I figured.
good question. Anybody can apply. I'll tell you, if you think you're going to come in and change a police department, you're not going to. There's policies, there's laws, there's traditions, so it's not going to happen. If you are playing a game during your application process where you're putting on a face, we're going to find out, and you're not going to get hired, come in, be yourself. And if it fits that department specifically, they'll hire you. And if it doesn't, they won't. But if you try to beat around the bush and play somebody or not, we're going to find out. So yeah, I guess that'd be the best answer for that.
Yeah. All right. Well, I always like to tell people is, if you don't like the laws that police are enforcing, then go to the lawmakers. Those are not the police, and have the laws changed on the books.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you got to remember, we're enforcing the law. We don't make the laws up. Maybe it'd be better for that person to put in for, a mayor or governor, go down to the state capitol or something. Cause I can't, if the law says this, we got to do it. And what do? We defend the Constitution. So I'm not going to do something that's unconstitutional. I don't know if that helps.
Right. Yeah. I mean, hey, search, seizure, Fourth Amendment is there for a reason. And it's definitely there for a reason. And thank goodness for that. Well, Jesse, this has been a great interview. I thank you so much. I know that a lot of people are going to learn a lot of things about the recruiting process and the hiring process, and more about what it takes to be a police officer, an effective one and good one at that. For anyone interested in contacting you for either questions or applying at Westminster, how can they get a hold of you?
Right. You just text me. So if you guys listen real quick, so it's 720-705-3732. Again, 720-705-3732. Just shoot me a text. I'm super quick to reply unless I'm on my days off. When I'm on my days off, family comes first. I'll reply. I'll be a little bit delayed. But when I'm working, I'm in the office, or even if I'm out and stuff, I'll reply to you right away. Shoot me a text. Let me know where you where you got my number from. I'll be happy to answer any of your questions, get you going in the application process, and whatever else you need.
Outstanding. Jesse, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.